Hey, welcome back into the ShopFix channel, a community joined together for the love of woodworking. My name is Connor, and I'm on a mission to create a thriving woodworking business for my one-car garage wood shop. If you want to support that mission, you can like this video, share it, and subscribe. If you want to support me further, I made some sweet new t-shirts on my website at shopfix.store. All of those will help me greatly, and I appreciate it. So let's get into this content, and I'm so excited. I'm going to show you how I built this new table saw jig, and I'm calling it the parallel guide jig, and from what I can see, it's the first one of its kind, so it makes me even more excited. So I'm going to show you what it does, how to use it, and how to build it. Let's get right into this. Oftentimes in woodworking, some of our greatest designs come from solving a problem, and this is no exception. This table saw is sweet. It's an old Rockwell model, and I love it. The problem is the fence isn't that great. If I move it back and forth and lock it in place, there's nothing guiding it to land parallel. To make these usable and bring them back to life, this jig basically does that. Let me explain how it works. The basic idea here is that we have a dead parallel reference surface on this board, and however we move it left or right, if we lock in the fence against that parallel reference surface, we know that the fence is parallel to the blade. The cool thing about this is that it solves another problem. A lot of these fence systems don't have good measuring tape. This one is really hard to read, it's not that accurate, so another problem that this solves is that it actually has a more accurate measuring tape installed on it, and then I have acrylic guides that line up to the measurement. And honestly, this system is more accurate than a lot of systems that I've used. The measuring tape that I've installed on this jig goes up to 16 inches. So you might be wondering, well, can it rip boards out wider than 16 inches? It sure can. Move your fence over. Then all you simply have to do is take the jig out of the left miter slot and install it into the right miter slot, and now you get a much wider rip. Since I have these two acrylic guides, the right one is for when the jig is on the left side, and the left one is when the jig is in the right miter slot. So now this left acrylic guide reads the tape, and 8 becomes 18, and 10 becomes 20, and so on and so forth. It is so cool. The usability of this jig was definitely one of my top priorities, and so I made this simple hanger for it. Grab it, put it in the miter slot, unlock these knobs, go to 3, lock it in, slide the fence over, lock the fence, remove the jig, and hang it up. And then I'm ripping. So that's the real world example of how long it would take to set up a cut and rip. So far I've discussed why I built it, how to use it, and now I'm going to do a broad overview of how to build it. So let me flip this jig over for you. And there's a few things I can explain before we get into the videos to give you an idea of what's going on. So essentially, the main thing that makes the saw work is a table saw runner in the miter slot, and you just want it tight. If there's any wobble, it's not going to be as accurate. So tight runner, and then a dado in this platform that sits on the surface of the table saw. And then you simply do dados on either end, and that allows the top rails to slide at a perfect 90-degree angle. It didn't even take me that long to build. It took me way longer designing it and figuring out how the heck this thing is going to even work. This is a game changer for older table saws or just table saws that have a fence that doesn't align properly. And so that's the broad overview of how to build it. And let's get right into this build now. I start by cutting the runner that rides inside the table saw's miter slot. You're looking for zero side-to-side play, but still smooth forward movement. Next, I cut a dado groove in the jig's platform to house that runner. Then I test the whole assembly on the saw to make sure the platform sits perfectly flush to the table saw surface. Now I cut the groove in another board to create the sliders for the top of the jig. These sliders need freedom of movement, but not looseness. If you feel resistance here, deal with it now instead of later. I then place a straight edge on the top of the jig's base and mark a center line over the dado. That line tells me exactly where I can drive nails without risking misalignment or shifting the runner. Glue goes into the dado, the runner drops in, and a few brad nails lock it all in place. Over at the miter saw, I then trim the platform ends so the runner sits perfectly flush on both sides. This keeps the jig from catching as it enters and exits the miter slot. I also cut the slider board in half so both sliders are identical in length. Matching lengths keeps pressure even and helps the jig track square during use. With the sliders positioned on top of the platform, I mark where the dado grooves need to be. This will allow a reference runner, which is what locks the sliders in at a true 90 degrees to the blade. Using my miter gauge with a square clamped in place, I cut the dado grooves on both sides. This setup removes guesswork and ensures the grooves are mechanically square to the blade, not just visually close. The more square this cut is, the less adjustment you'll fight later. Right next to those dados, I cut another groove for the T-track. These T-tracks allow the sliders to adjust freely while still locking solidly once dialed in. Now I can rip the runners for the sliders. Consistency here is critical. Uneven runners can introduce racking, uneven pressure, or even binding during setup. Before glue touches anything, I do a full dry fit. Platform in the miter slot, runners in the dados, T-track in place, sliders on top. Everything should move freely, stay square, and feel solid. Once everything checks out, I glue the runners into the platform permanently. Clamps apply even pressure, and brads hold alignment while the glue cures. I then trim the T-track to length with a hacksaw so it fits flush inside the dado. After drilling pilot holes, I then fasten the T-track in place with 2 screws. A thin shim ensures the T-track is aligned properly in the dado. At the miter saw, I cut 2 small support blocks. These stabilize the right side of the jig and prevent rocking when the jig is extended on wider rips. I glue and nail 1 support block to each slider. This small addition adds noticeable rigidity and makes the jig feel much more planted during setup. Using a trim router and an edge guide, I route a 1/4 inch slot into each of the sliders. These slots allow the T-track bolts to stay fixed while the sliders adjust smoothly back and forth. With pocket holes, I attach both sliders to a connector board. This locks them all together, keeps everything square, and ensures even pressure on both sides of the jig during adjustment. This is the time where everything comes together. The platform rides in the miter slot, the connected sliders drop into the dados, bolts pass through the routed slots, and knobs secure everything from the top. Now it's time to attach the parallel reference board using glue and brad nails, making sure it fits as flush as possible. This board becomes the working face of the whole entire jig, so flatness and consistency matter here. With the jig riding in the miter slot, I trim the reference board directly against the blade. Now the face is perfectly parallel to the blade, guaranteed. No measurements, no guesswork, just mechanical accuracy. To maximize the jig's range, I extend the dado slots all the way to the edge of the connector board. That extra travel gives more flexibility during setup and makes the jig usable across a wider range of cuts. To finish it all off, I add 2 support blocks on either side of the back slider. This also gives me room to install the acrylic guides. The guides are installed with oversized holes to allow final adjustment to the adhesive-backed metal measuring tape. Those additions turn this jig from accurate into repeatably precise, allowing you to dial in cuts quickly and trust the results every time. Well, there you have it, the parallel guide jig, bringing old table saws back to life. There are so many table saws out there on the marketplace, just like this one, that are so well made and so underused, and a simple jig like this can be thrown on the table saw and get you accurate cuts and correct the bad fence. Man, that is a win-win. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and share it. Subscribe to the Shop Fix channel if you haven't. I got some great videos coming, some awesome content. Go grab you a t-shirt at shopfix.store and let's bring this mission to life. I'm building a thriving woodworking business and I'm gonna help you guys along the way with all these jigs and everything I come up with. Probably fail a time or two, but you know what? We're gonna get through the challenges and we're gonna build this business. Let's go. Peace out.